I think we're going to start up front. I'm going to take apart all the lights, remove this trim, try very carefully to remove this. I know this is a very valuable piece and I don't want to damage it. Finding a replacement will be hard and expensive. And we're going to sand this down. Making some progress, removing parts. I'm so thankful that these self-tapping screw holes that hold this trim on are still intact and that those screws come out. That would stop me dead in my tracks if I couldn't get those out. We removed the lenses and lights. You can see the original paint. When it was painted blue on the bottom half, they obviously went with a much lighter color than the original, which makes sense because this repair job down here is the original color, or at least by the color code, and it came out so dark and we were confused, but now it makes more sense. The original turquoise blue, or turquoise, is darker than what this bus is, but is what it is. I'm gonna try very carefully to remove these rubber seals, clean them up, and there's rust, bubbles. We're gonna sand those smooth, but like I mentioned previously, we are retaining the patina look. We just want to brighten it up and clean what we can and just improve it. I'm gonna continue taking some trim off here. Pray that all of these screws behind that insert come out nicely. And then the big emblem in the center, I gotta take that out from the inside. I'm a little worried about that one, but I'm gonna be very careful. I hope the new insert goes back in as easy as the old one comes out. You can see here, this was Titian red originally. Turns brown in the sun over all these years, but it was red. Maybe quite a color contrast. White, Turkish, and red. It's gonna look great. I'm gonna get some new parts. Wish me luck with these screws. Ooh, this one's fighting me already. Oh boy. That one's loose. That one's loose. Oh boy. We might not be able to get this trim off. I have a feeling that one's gonna break. This one looks even worse. Okay, I worked a little harder off camera. Managed to get all these tiny screws out. Thank goodness. None of them broke. And it should go back together okay. But you can see there's a lot of dirt. So the first step here, well, after I try to get this off, is we gotta clean this. And we're not allowed to use the pressure washer indoors here where we're working, so we're gonna do a rinseless wash and use some dirty towels and clean this as good as possible before we start sanding. That big VW emblem is held on the inside with these clips. They're intended to be one-time use, but you can pry them off. It's really hard work. I got them. I think there's only 3. We're about to find out. I think there might be a 4th. Let's go look. Yes, there's a 4th clip. In there. Possible to get to. Okay, that was a real pain in the ass. We have blood, but now okay, I'm ready to start sanding. It's gonna be trial and error here. The blue is heavily oxidized, a lot of stone pitting. The white is worse. It's cracked and oxidized and rusty and full of dents. I'd love to know what the story with that one was, where that happened and what it came from. But hopefully we can smooth it down just to the point where we can run a polisher over it and brighten it up. Let's see what happens. This is what you call a rid stick. It's a sanding block. This is a small one, which I already know is going to be too small for this project, but it'll work in some of the finer spots. It's to take a piece of sandpaper like this and keep the surface extremely flat. This is for when you're working on really nice cars and you want to sand a small scratch out, or some orange peel. I'm going to use this as a test for now, just to see how it works on some of this heavily oxidized paint. But I can see already I'm going to be switching to a bigger sanding disc and probably a machine polisher to wet sand. But let's see how it goes. So you can immediately see what happens here. Got shadows no matter what, but it removes a lot of the grime. The surface gets a lot smoother. Obviously, where the paint is gone, you can't bring it back, but that's okay. We like that look. We're just cleaning it. And then we're gonna polish it and get a little bit of shine back. I'm going to try the machine polisher now, cover some of these big flat areas. That is much, much quicker. This is a Rupes sanding disc and a Rupes foam backing interface. It was designed for this kind of work. Probably not on something this old and screwed up, but it's working well. Listen. Much smoother. I can tell I'm going to be using an even bigger polisher with the same setup with a 5-inch pad. But for now, let's continue. I've tried to do a half-half here so you can see the difference. The white is very obvious. Down here on the turquoise, you can see some difference. Maybe not on camera, but in real life it's there. This is just after the wet sanding stages. This is fun because normally when you wet sand a car in preparation for polish, you have to be extremely careful, and you have to be very cleanly. You can't have any contaminants in the paper that'll introduce scratches that shouldn't be there. But with this, it's impossible. I mean, the paint flakes off and there's little rust patches. So you can go quicker and just kind of go crazy. My camera is running out of battery now and storage space, so I'm gonna jump straight into some polishing on this side and show you what that looks like. And then I'll probably work on this side off camera and bring you back tomorrow with new batteries and new space. Let's do some polishing. Far from perfect, but way better. It's gonna be a shiny turd. I'm using the coarsest compound I have. I'm using a coarse wool pad because we gotta get very aggressive here. I'm not gonna go back and do another step like I would on a normal car to refine the finish. We just want some shine. Get the reflection of the lights there. I'm happy with that. Let's see what happens on the blue. You can see where the polisher has been. I'm happy. Now we just gotta repeat this process a ton all over this bus. Big job. Like I said, I'm going to continue off camera on this side, and I'll bring you back tomorrow. Wish me luck. All right, I know I said I'd be back tomorrow, but it's actually like a week later. I got really sick with the flu. That doesn't matter in YouTube world. This is what we have now. I know that it doesn't look like much because of how weathered it is, but I hope video does it justice. I think it's looking pretty good. Down here, I sanded some of this loose rust off and put some rust converter on there. That's original paint. You can see the color difference. We did some sanding around the windows because it was very rusty. Also sanded the rubber trim because it was faded and crusty. But it's coming along. Next step is to clean up some of this trim. I've already worked on this headlight surround. I'm gonna do this one now. Pitted, dull, tarnished. Same with these trims. They're pretty gross. We're gonna use Quad Zero steel wool and P&S Metal Bright just as a lubricant with the steel wool. We'll wipe it with a microfiber cloth. And then we'll see where that leaves us, and I'll probably do a time lapse of putting some of this front back together with the lenses and lights and trim. And then we have our new red insert, which I'll show you in a minute. We're gonna put that in. Wiper blades, clean the glass. Oh yeah, now we're gonna put this bumper back on, and I'm gonna give it a light sand. It's pretty orange and gross. And then we'll see what the finished front end looks like before we go to another video and tackle the rest of this thing. Got some bad news about it. I'll tell you about that later. Let's do some metal cleaning. Last video I made a mistake that I need to correct. It said that my great uncle who bought this bus brand new flew the hump. He did fly the hump, but the hump was not flying supplies from here to Korea and Singapore. It was flying supplies from India to China for troops. It was known as an extremely dangerous route to fly because they had very little radio contact and very little in the way of weather predictions. Not to mention they were at war. There was a risk of being shot down. It's a tough life. Proud of him, but I can't imagine being in my 20s flying the hump, as they called it. I'm very thankful that I'm here in the safety of this storage locker, working on this bus, instead of flying some rinky-dink airplane over the hump. Percy, as his name was an eccentric guy, I told you. And after posting that last video, some of our family members reached out to us and told us a story that when he was in school, he called himself Percival instead of Percy, which I think is a really cool name. And I think I might call the bus Percival instead of Percy now. Tribute to him. Percy or Percival was very serious about scouts, Boy Scouts. He just stepped on a piece of trim. Found some evidence of scouts in the bus. The Swiss Army knife. It's been tied here with a shoelace for decades. It's gonna stay there. And we found this behind the seat. Actually, the shop that did the repair work on the floors found this behind the seat and asked me what it was. And at the time I didn't know, but now I think I figured out that this is very rudimentary fishing line. Stuck in there behind the seat. That's going to stay there forever for Percival. Time to work on this bad boy. Is what it is. It's original. I assume very valuable. I assume very hard to find. I'm gonna start to put it back together. Got all the shiny metal parts cleaned up. As expected, I'm gonna have to buy some new parts. The headlight seals are toast. It's all available. I can buy it from online websites. They all seem to be in California for some reason, which means it takes forever to get parts to New York. But we're gonna put those in temporarily. We can come back and fix it later. Also gotta do some wiring, trim some of the corroded ends off the wires. I'll put dielectric grease in the bulbs. It'll go in here. But let's do it. This is going to be a time-lapse video because it's going to take me some time. And then we're going to do the fun stuff with the red trim. This will be fun. It's going to really set off the colors here. I mentioned last time that this is Titian red. I found out later it's pronounced Titian. It was named after an Italian Renaissance artist. The color, I mean, Titian. Named after an artist who used this color red to paint women's hair in his paintings. Pretty interesting. Titian. This roll here is enough to do this whole bus, apparently. It was about $35 online. Should be a pretty easy install. The trick is cutting the ends. I gotta cut them at an angle to meet each other perfectly. And then up here at the top, it has to be cut at an angle. Let's see what happens. I'm gonna need a trim tool. Some more detailing tools. I'm gonna do this off camera because this will be a very boring thing for you to watch. And I'll show you the finished product. I know I said that installing this red insert was going to be the fun part, but I lied. It was not fun at all. It took me over an hour to do both sides. This side was actually pretty easy. Got it started, Put the plastic trim tool in, just guided it up all the way, trim the ends, no problem. This side, for some reason, is a lot harder. I got it in down here at the point. It's not ideal. I'm gonna possibly redo this driver's side piece. Once I see if I have extra, I can maybe use this section for some of the door pieces. If I have enough. The license plate hides it. But there's the finished product. Well, at least the front anyway. And I think it looks pretty good. You're probably thinking, dude, that looks terrible. You need a new paint job. And you're right, it does need a paint job, but it's not gonna happen, at least not anytime soon. We went way over budget fixing the rust in the floors. But I wanna remind you what it used to look like. Here's a reference. Rough, orange, rusty, terrible white, tarnished, dull trim, brown, insert, oxidized blue, rough paint. This side is a lot brighter, a lot shinier. Trim polished up, Titian red insert, looking good. Some polished chrome. I gave the bumper a once over with sandpaper just to end the video, but I'm gonna spend some more time on it. It's not mounted either because when I get to the sides, start work over here, I still need to do some major sanding and make some kind of a plan down there. So it's not mounted yet, but I'm pleased. It's a lot more presentable. That's gonna do it for this video. Please like and subscribe. There's a reason why you see that at the end of every YouTube video. They're hard work. They're hard work to make. A lot of time and effort goes into filming and editing and posting, and it means a lot when you watch them and like them and comment. Please comment. Please tell me what I'm doing wrong. Please tell me what I don't know about Samba buses. Please give me some fun facts. Tell me what I'm doing right. Tell me what you like about these videos. I want to interact. I'm having fun. I hope you're having fun watching. We're gonna keep making more. We'll see you next time.